And we're live. I hope. I pray. We're going to start because last time we did 7 minutes of just talking about nonsense. We're going to avoid that because
it's called Chuffa.
Yes. Welcome to Crack Movie Club, the show where we do a book club, but for movies which are like books but better. I'm the host of this show, Jordan Breeding, and I'm going to be checking the comments, so I will be very distracted. And I'm joined by my co-hosts, Jesse and Allie. Say hello.
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 What's going to be distracting you, Allie?
I'm going to be checking Jordan's face as he's checking the comments to try and gauge what he feels about the comment. So I'm going to be really focused on that and not listening to anything that you say.
Good. Same level of distraction, but no contributed added value. I love it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to be thinking about global conflict, so that's why I'll be distracted.
Which is
that's
actually
really brave
effective
of you.
and useful. We need more people focused on those things. Allie, we watched a movie. Can you recap the movie?
Yes. Okay. So this movie is called I Love You, Man. I feel like you have to say it with like emotion in your voice. So in this movie, a guy named Peter Clavin, which in my opinion sounds like a serial killer. Doesn't that have like a serial killer name vibe? Peter Clavin?
Yeah. Going full Peter is can be pretty devious.
You never want to see a guy go full Peter. That's really messed up.
I feel like it sounds
Peter
like
Clavin.
a Game of Thrones character to me. It's like Peter Clavin.
But that also means probably a murderer.
Well, sure. Or like a hot brother that you know.
LA real estate is a real killer.
You almost said the word within the first 30 seconds of streaming.
But I
did
you
this time.
Because I'm a Christian.
A good boy.
A good Christian?
I'm a good boy.
All right, go, recap.
Okay. Real this time. Peter Clavin, not a serial killer, but instead Paul Rudd, a very sweet, well-meaning real estate agent. In the first 30 seconds of the movie, proposes to his girlfriend. They have not been going out for long. It's only been like 2-ish months or something like that. Yeah, maybe 8 months.
8 months, specifically.
Either way, her name is Zoe, but he really is into her, and she's very supportive of his dreams. And so he's like, let's do it. Let's get engaged. And she's like, yeah. On the car ride home, she calls her friend. She calls her mom. She calls da-da-da-da-da. And Peter has called nobody. And she's like, do you have any friends that you want to tell we're engaged? And he realizes, or begins to realize in that moment, that he doesn't really have any best friends with whom to share good news.
Maybe any friends that are male.
Or maybe any friends. Yes. He does seem to have closer female friends, or at least like he is very welcoming of Zoe's circle of friends,
right.
But he doesn't have any like good guy buddies that he goes and hangs out with. And at first he's like, I don't think that's that weird. But then he overhears Zoe's friends being like, he's not even going to like have a best man. Isn't that weird? Like, have you ever met a guy who doesn't have any male friends? And so he is like, okay, I'm going to make it my mission to find a best man for my wedding. This leads him on a series of little dates with a variety of weirdos, but none of them really work. And then as he's getting ready to give up on it, he is at Lou Ferrigno's mansion, which he is selling, where he meets a guy named Sidney Fife, who is an investor, who is just like a laid back, cool guy who makes him laugh. And they exchange business cards for business reasons, but he ends up calling him and being like, do you want to just like hang? Which leads to them falling in love, kind of. They have like a significant bromance, so to speak, where they share secrets with each other, and they discover they have similar tastes in music, and they sort of nicely mirror each other's anxieties, and one's slightly more uptight, where the other one's more relaxed, but that's good because they whatever. So things sort of are on the upswing. Then Sydney gives an embarrassing speech at their engagement dinner. That makes a lot more sense. I was like, they're not getting married yet. Which is like maybe the first sign that he's a loose cannon, and perhaps not like the smartest choice for a best man, / maybe he was just sort of enamored by his sparkling personality, but like, what if he's maybe like a little trickster, which is also, the suspicion is deepened when he asks for an $8,000 loan.
Yeah.
Because when Peter tells Zoe that he gave him $8,000, she's like, you don't know this man. Like you're not like, I want you to have a best friend, but this man like waltzed into your life, took your money, embarrassed me at my engagement dinner, and when you're with him, you completely forget about me, which is fair. But it turns out the $8,000 was to launch an unbelievably successful series of bus ads and like sides of the things where you sit when you're waiting for the subway or the bus.
We call them benches.
Billboards. Benches. I really couldn't remember the word.
It's an LA thing. You wouldn't know.
I'm so sorry. I really was like, I know there is a word for it, but I can't.
Long chairs.
Yeah, exactly. Lawn chairs. But it works. And he gets a series of phone calls from people who are like, I loved your ads. You're a real firecracker. I'd love to work with you. Or just like women being like, you're kind of horny. Can we maybe get together and talk about my house? Whatever. Because they are still having somewhat of a tiff, he is not invited to the wedding, but he makes a dramatic entrance on a Vespa as encouraged by Zoe, because Zoe sees that he has a good heart, and it's important to Peter that Sydney is there, because she sees Peter sort of pouting sadly on the lawn.
He's playing air
Zoe
bass
finally
on
realizes what a shrew she's been.
I do think actually this movie does a pretty good job of not making her act insane.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk about that later. Yeah. But yeah, Sydney is on his own. No, it's not Sydney. Peter is on his own wedding day, pouting like a little puppy dog. And she's like, that makes me sad. So she invites Sydney, who comes and makes a big old speech and gives back the $8,000. He's been a good guy all along. And then over the final credits, they play a Rush song. The end.
Yep. That's pretty much what happens, and I now must defend why we watched it, although I don't think it needs much defending. The reason I chose this movie is because, A, it's February, and so we thought we would do rom-coms, which I think in retrospect was a bad idea because, well, people aren't listening as much as they were when we weren't doing rom-coms.
Well, also, the good news is this is a buddy comedy more than it is a rom-com.
That is great news. Thank you for bringing some good news for once. But the other reason is because I saw this movie with my dad and my best friend, who is still my best friend, Hank Mardukas, when we were in high school. And I just remember thinking it was the best thing I'd ever seen. I thought it was so freaking funny, the slap in the bass line, everything. And it's one of the few movies I own on DVD. And it's still a movie that my best friend and I, who did become my best man, and I his, still quote to this day endlessly. So, I just want to share that with you guys. So don't break my heart with it. But honestly, on rewatch, I still really enjoyed it. I honestly think it's a delightful little film. So
I think, speaking of the quotability of this thing, this movie, like more than any other movie I can think of off the top of my head, launched a million inside jokes. This is the first time. I don't know for sure if this is like the first mainstream like example of a man cave, but it definitely had stuff like slap into bass. There's no question that started in this movie.
Slap into bass is the fourth prominent character in the movie.
Yeah, just like
right.
If it was in New York City would be the character, but here it's the one riffed line. There's also Papa Squiznot, the tits, redonkulous. These are all the first times that I heard those phrases that I can remember hearing them. Definitely the like shoehorning the word bro into everything that became popular because of this movie. So there was a time when those expressions all got annoying, but
yeah,
there's also a brief period where it was the height of comedy.
Yeah, and I mean,
yeah.
Again, its impact on culture was pretty evident by me and my best friend being each other's best men, probably because of this movie. Which I think culturally has
it's the whole reason you got married.
Really echoed throughout time, if I'm not mistaken. So I got a couple of questions that I'm going to go down because, as Allie hinted at before, well, she didn't hint at it, she outright said it, but the camera wasn't on yet. There's not going to be a lot of like symbolism that we miss. There's not a lot of like, oh, look at the hammer and sickle in the background when he's talking about real estate or whatever. And you're like, oh my God, it's a condemnation of capitalism.
I mean, one thing they did say was that Lou Ferrigno's mansion was $4.2 million. Not in a zillion years. That was prime, like Beverly Hills real estate with a huge view. That is an $11 million mansion. It was so distracting. I had to I had to like meditate on it for a while.
So,
Allie spends 5 hours a day on Zillow. She knows what she's talking about.
so what?
Has no one watched Selling Sunset?
I don't even know what that is.
Oh my god!
I know what it is. I haven't watched
Forget
it
it.
though.
Just keep going.
And what do you think that's a metaphor for? Is the?
I think that's a metaphor for underselling yourself.
Oh.
And that in this movie, many people need to take more control of what they have to bring to the table. You are not a $4.2 million mansion. You are an $11 million mansion. And don't you forget it. You have a view.
Well, I will say, I think there is some symbolism to like what Sydney represents. Like there's a part of Peter's like brain, or at least personality, that is missing. And I honestly don't know off the top of my head the difference between ego and id. But
It is the
Sydney's
head.
But I'm going
ego
to bring
is
him
the-
up anyway.
But I got some pretty strong thoughts on it. No, it is the. Oh wait, no. I think I just got it backwards. I think it is is the head one. Ego is the
head
Head one.
the balls.
No,
one.
no. It
Wait,
is
so-
the middle. Ego is where the conscious mind lives. It is the animal. Superego is the mind. So
Yes.
So I
It
think
is
it's,
like your gut instinct without your thoughts or how you want to be perceived clouding how you'd like to act, essentially.
So I think that's exactly what Sydney is, right? And he like explains his philosophy of like, you know, we're all just animals, and that's why I'm not going to clean up my dog's poop and stuff like that. And that's why we need to go onto the boardwalk and just yell like a primal animal scream.
Right.
So I think I think there is some intended symbology there where Peter's just this like very like nice guy, and he doesn't really ever express or like live in his id. And here comes Sydney, who's all id, and the rest of the movie is about like balancing them out.
right.
I actually have a question. And I feel like perhaps this is the kind of thing we could open up to the chat if we have conflicted responses. Is it a common trope? Is there a stereotype of a man who does not have a lot of male friends? They sort of like so casually say it in the movie that it's almost like it's like, you know, the guy. Everybody knows that guy. Everyone's got the guy in their life who doesn't got a lot of guy friends. And it's like I felt like it was somewhat of a new concept to me. Like,
Well, that's really-
is this a thing?
I think it's especially interesting because by definition, that guy doesn't know a lot of people, or a lot of people don't know that guy. You know?
I don't think it's a movie trope. To your point, Allie, I do think there are guys like that. I honestly though, I don't know that they come across. So I know a few guys who are definitely like significantly better friends with women than they are with men. But they're also they kind of suck sometimes. Like it's not
Oh.
like, oh, they're so sweet necessarily,
Uh-huh.
and they just like don't bro hard enough. It just sort of plays out that way because a lot of guys just don't like hanging out with them. And
Jordan
women are
is
sometimes
Are they
absolutely
also
Jordan is
little
absolutely the
creepy,
John
is that-
Favreau character.
Oh yeah, hell yeah,
Yeah. Jordan is such a bro. I think about that when I think about Jordan.
yeah. I'm a bro.
Is it also in that person that you can just say it's Jesse, it's fine.
Yeah.
So in that Jesse that is the man who has a lot of women friends like not really friends with them, they're just like a harem of potential dates? He's
I'm
kind of a
still
creep.
here, guys.
It's probably
No, I know.
it's probably not even that. I think it's more like it's a lot easier for them to talk to women. So if they're at a party or something, they're going to talk to more women. They're going to be more in the room where the women are talking, if it's sequestered in that way, as opposed to like it just doesn't go as. How am I phrasing this? This basic idea that like, for whatever reason, maybe it's an emotional thing or it's wanting to talk more about people they know as opposed to the latest Star War or something or sporting event. I'm kind of conflating a bunch of people now, but I don't necessarily see them as like, oh, this is like their harem. Yeah, like you were saying, of potential mates, and more about they're just not connecting well with guys because they're, for whatever reason, and women are just, at least in these social events, seem to be more accepting of them for some reason.
Do we think that Peter is that guy because he just is like so busy with work and doesn't take time to hang with the dudes?
He sort of does seem like he's been looking for a wife this whole time, or he's more comfortable with women in general because he he's nice to a bunch of different women. But you don't really get the impression. It's not like one of those movies. I will say a tropey thing is My Best Friend's Wedding, where it's like her best friend is this hot dude. You could see that like the opposite happens too, which is Made for Honor, which is what you mentioned, where it's like her best friend is just a guy, or in his case, it's like his best friend is just this hot woman. Like, isn't that wacky? I don't feel like
he's
that's
sort of like the anti Julia Roberts character in that like she's cool because she can like hang and she can like hold her liquor and she's always going to the sports games and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But he's not cool because when he goes to poker night he doesn't know the rules and he pukes on Jon Favreau.
Right. Well, but
which actually, when I say it out loud, is not very cool. So
well, I guess what I'm saying is like I don't get the impression that he has had a ton of female, like legitimate friend relationships. I just think that he is a serial monogamist who fits in well with whoever he's dating's friend group, right? Like,
okay,
he's coming
that's
in.
fair. I like
when
that.
he comes in with like the milkshakes or whatever he got for all those women. I don't think he and Jamie Presley like bro out or whatever. They don't watch Chocolat together on the side. He just is fitting into friend groups, and he's going one woman at a time. That's why they say his best friend is his mom, because that's one of the only, I guess to your point a little bit, that's one of the only women he's not going to date. So his only friend is ever the one woman he's dating, and then sort of integrated into her friend group, if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
That's what I feel.
Yeah,
Like.
I think that was a very astute character summation.
Thanks. I'm
Who said there wasn't symbolism in the movie?
I'm here all week. But I think that's a thing that exists in real life too. But I don't think it's a movie trope, to your point. I don't think it's like super common that you have a male character who is a serial monogamist friend with women, but not with the intention of dating them, and also not like, oh, this is my best friend since we were in first grade, and we're gonna at some point remember that we love each other or something like.
Yeah.
I think a really interesting lens to like look at this movie through is what would it be like if it was gender swapped? Like the three of us been talking about that a lot. So the swap of that is Peter's character would be the like just one of the guys' girl. But that has a whole set of other baggage where like that does directly imply like potential relationship stuff between the friends. But that doesn't seem to be the case with Peter. There's like no chemistry with any other woman in his life. All his coworkers, the friends of his girlfriend, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
They do love him though, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Like all of his female coworkers are like, go out there and get him, Pete.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think
except for at least one that is overtly horny for him.
Well.
Yeah, but it's Paul Rudd, so like, what are you expecting? If Paul Rudd worked in your office, you'd be like, tell me everything. I need to know the whole story.
I was going to bring up, I mean, we've already experienced this in two movies. The two of the last 3 weeks have been this trope of coworker who sits in cubicle and watches porn all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, what the hell is going on in this moment in media?
I like to think an early draft of this had Peter buying a Sybian and starting a romantic relationship with it.
Yes.
No, a platonic relationship with it, and just it's only his friend and it's his best man.
Oh, true. Yeah, putting a little bow tie on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he escorts him to the altar.
You said escorts in such a way that it really sounded like you said squirts, and it was
squirts him to the altar. It can do whatever it wants.
That's one of my favorite lines in the whole movie. It's so gross. But we got a squirter. We got a squirter.
Can you imagine, though, if you were in an office and someone, like,
that's what I'm saying. There's no
way
that's a realistic... You'd be fired so fast, especially now where, like, presumably every boss is spying on your computer all the time.
Right.
I just mean, I guess they get a little bit of flexibility because it's like probably 100% commission. At least that's the implication. It's very commission-focused. So you can kind of do whatever you want, but I still think that creates kind of a hostile work environment if somebody's yelling, "We got a squirter here," in an
truly
office
though
with a lot of women in it. I just think it would be very
yes.
weird.
When you do come to town, you are that guy in our office.
Oh yeah,
you truly run around yelling weird, bad things.
That's actually true, but it's for my art.
That's true.
Yeah, I did it for the art. I did it for Lou Ferrigno's mansion.
Yeah, and
Lou Ferrigno's discount mansion.
yeah.
I can't even talk about it. Don't get me angry again.
I'm just gonna move on because I don't want to talk about the horrible things I've done in New York City, which is mostly nothing, except for
Yeah, I know you didn't. You got to come for longer next time, and we can like do city things
Yeah,
and not just Greenpoint pizza.
yeah. Get me a good pizza for the love. I've been there.
You wouldn't
There's
let
so
me order
much
Papa
pizza.
John's.
I literally said, get whatever pizza you want. The boss said you can buy the pizza. The CEO came up and said, hey, if people are going to come over, get them something. I said, Jesse, get us something. You got us just this basic pizza. This just boring Sbarro's.
It was pizza from Long Island City. That's not where you got to go if you want like the real pizza. We can't order it from Sheep's Head Bay. We got to go there.
Yeah,
and
also
whatever.
Greenpoint isn't known for its pizza. Greenpoint is known for its pierogies and stuff.
Well,
yeah,
if you want
Greenpoint
good
is known
pizza-
for not having any subways near it, and you have to walk a lot.
Uh-huh.
Subway is really yummy. So let's do this. Yeah, if you guys had got me Subway, I probably would have preferred it. I have a couple of things. They're all sort of around the same theme, which is I think that this movie, it's not prophetic, but it lays out a blueprint for mid-young adult life that we're finding ourselves in that's even more tricky to navigate now than I think when the movie came out, which is to say making adult friendships in real life is a lot harder in this kind of COVID-y, post-COVID world too.
Oh yeah.
Where now it's so hard to even want to go outside and do anything at all. And I thought it was so interesting. They kind of get into all these rules of dating, like not real dating, but finding friends and stuff. And you both seem to have a lot of friends, which is fine. It doesn't matter. I'm not jealous.
They're
of
all
it.
chicks.
Yeah, they're all chicks.
It's fine. I'm a good little boy, so I don't.
I don't
think-
have
The only way
friends.
Jordan makes new friends is by starting podcasts.
Okay, but that's true, and that's what I'm accused
Starting
of.
podcasts and having children.
Well, yeah, I'm breeding my own new friends.
Yeah, you have two best friends living in your house right now that you
I
created.
know, but they call me Papa, and it's just there's a distance between us sometimes. I was curious. So, as two young socialites living in New York
Socialite.
City, what how true do you find this? Do you feel like there's ever a need for that, or how do you go about making new friends? Help me.
I mean, I do think it is harder to make friends the older you get, just because like I think you get put into less situations that like create bonding. Do you know what I mean? Like when you think about like college as a bonding experience, like it really is. Like you're shut away from the outside world. You're going through like some of the biggest like life changes of your young adult years. You're getting support and or confiding in said people for whatever reason. And so like that's why those people tend to be still important to you even later in life. And then as you get older and it's like my work job, my
work
the
job.
assignments, my work
Yes.
job.
My work
I
job.
meant to say like my work.
We all have those
work
work jobs. You know what I
acquaintances.
mean?
I will say that like I think I am in a somewhat of a unique position in that when you do creative work, you get introduced to new people all the time,
Sure.
and you are sort of forced to be at least semi-vulnerable. You know what I mean? It can't just be like a job you clock in, clock out, and you just like simply make small talk. Like you have to at some point like be vulnerable or whatever it is. And so like in my adult life, I've met a lot of good friends by going away for a theater season and being in Vermont for 3.5 months. And that's literally where I met my best friend of my like adult life that I've now been friends with for a decade and is my best man. Groomsman? Bridesman? I don't know what you call it.
Bridesman.
He's my bridesman.
See, that's what I'm saying.
But you know what I mean? But
That's,
that's because
the trope that I think exists in real life and in movies, which is, oh, she has a bridesman, as opposed to if this was the female version of I Love You Man.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd's character doesn't have, he's not like inviting, his groomsmen aren't a bunch of women that have been converted to brides or grooms women, I suppose. I think yeah. Anyway, not to go back to that, but yeah, that makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
my best friend
Yeah.
is I've known him since first grade still, and he lives down the street, which is why I can't leave.
I love
Because
that.
then I'll never make any other friends. I will say,
Yeah.
to your point, I feel like most of my good friends. I was saying this to my wife like a couple months ago. We were in a band through college and for several years after college, and that was where like my most important relationships were. I was always meeting people. We were meeting other bands, all that stuff. And so when we stopped doing the band, yeah, there's like that creative friend making hole in your life. And now I do this, but it's all remote, and so, and also everybody hates me. No, but it is.
But remote is weird.
It is
Like
very weird.
it is
Yeah.
different. Like the fact that at one point in our lives, Jesse and I were in the same room 3 times a week. Sometimes,
Yeah.
like it's weird. It's
It was
weird
an
that that's
emergency
not
room.
Yeah, I was beating up Jesse a lot, but then feeling immediate remorse and going with
Yeah.
him to the emergency room.
Yeah.
You're like a Sour
that,
Patch
like-
Kid in that way.
When you are making stuff, especially in person, especially like theater where it's like it's got to be right. It's just like a lot of throwing spaghetti at the wall and like necessitating that sort of like everyone comes with a good open mind thing. And I don't think that that's necessarily true of work. Like I also have really good friends that I've made from work, not
Sure.
creative work, like the library where I worked and things like that. But that sort of felt against all odds to me, where I was like, I can't believe I'm such good friends with my coworkers. Like, how lucky am I that in a job where we could have very easily just made small talk forever, I've like somehow developed these really nice friendships. Whereas when we're like rehearsing shows constantly and having to pitch our own vulnerable ideas, I'm not surprised that those people have become like really good friends in my life, because it requires someone being like, hey, hold on, we talked over blah blah blah's idea, I really like it, I'm gonna put my support behind it. I don't know, I never liked any of Jesse's ideas, so I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, that's
No, you were always very clear about that.
Vocal
No, I
about-
I had a really similar thing where like 2 of my best friends, I met them in 4th grade. I didn't really pick up any like lifelong friends again until college. But then after that, it was between college and like the several years before joining this UCB team. A lot of people like find their buds in their UCB classes. I never quite got there, but it was, yeah, going through whether it was bad shows, which honestly, I don't think we really had any of those, but
Sure.
Wow.
definitely going through adversity. Like there were months where we would have maybe a director that was like extra harsh and made for like just a really bad few weeks. But on the other side of that, you know, we all just became a lot closer, I think. So it's definitely this creative work. And then Jordan, I feel like you're picking up all kinds of friends now, though they're mostly through the internet.
right. Well, that's what I mean. I have internet friends, but
Yeah.
I mean,
But you do occasionally like do kind of a national tour where you get to like meet a person that you've been working with online for a brief hour.
that's true. And
Ooh,
then they,
you should do that. You should do a little I love you man type tour of all your internet acquaintances and see which one passes the gauntlet to be moved up to the level of good friend.
Yeah, or see which one misreads the situation and kisses you on the mouth.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't fight it like Paul Rudd because I'm too polite.
I like that. I like that you're just like, I don't know. I made out tonight. Oh, really? No, I was. I really wanted to be polite. I couldn't stop him. And this is what's gonna be like.
we got somebody horny in the chat. Hold on, I gotta block him.
Oh, hey.
Jesse, stop.
I told you I was going to be distracted.
While he's dealing with that, we can talk about how fun this cast is.
The
Like
cast
everybody's
is
stacked.
so nuts.
Every time
oh,
a person
man.
shows up, even like for one line, you're like, oh my God, baby Nick Kroll. Okay, you had one line. Goodbye.
Yeah.
It's just fun.
Bye-bye.
Great cast all around.
Nick Kroll, I feel like, really made a meal out of his like 1 or 2 lines.
Yeah. Oh, well,
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah, I agree. I think Jamie Presley is so good in everything that she's
Yes.
in.
Yes.
Again, another character or another actor. Maybe I'm conflating conversations now. My whole family crawled out of the Tennessee hills at some point. We don't know where we came from. Jamie Presley would fit in very well with my family. She looks like a lot of my family. She talks like a lot of my family, but she's more fun than most of my family.
I mean, like even people who were teensy tiny little bit roles are people who you can tell were like on the verge of breaking into TV success and things like that.
Yeah.
even like of Zoe's friends in that one scene where they're like, it's kind of weird that you don't have friends, is the woman who plays Maureen Ponderosa and It's Always Sunny. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Oh.
Which one is?
She's the one who was like, there's another Ponderosa brother, and like Dennis doesn't want to get with her, but then
Oh,
she gets
is she
like
the one with the
gigantic
dead
breast
tooth?
implants.
The dead tooth?
She
Dead
the
tooth.
one with the
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
dead
yeah.
tooth. Exactly.
Right.
She's so funny, and it's like you can tell that this was an early on, just breaking in, has two lines but nails them both. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. And also a lot of the like Parks and Rec started in 2009, I'm pretty sure, right? And so there was a lot of these
Yeah.
people that either were cast members or made cameos. You're right. This is such a good snapshot of people that were just about to blow up and just owned the comedy scene for the next decade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that actually this movie sort of dodges my like there's this breakdown. I think Every Frame a Painting did a video on this, but this idea between like British and American comedy, like basically Edgar Wright style comedy versus Judd Apatow comedy, which is or like a Will Ferrell movie where they just do a ton of improv and then they just take the best take, versus Edgar Wright who bothers to actually write it out, and then he uses things like musical cues or really interesting camera angles to heighten it. So like in Shaun of the Dead, there will be lots of like pull-ins and dramatic scenes and the light glinting off a knife to make a joke, as opposed to Talladega Nights, they just like set up a camera somewhere and had Will Ferrell say as many dumb things as he could. And then they just took what was the best. But I feel like this movie does a great job of letting people do improv, but because they're not trying to go so hard with it, it just like is a way to build their relationship, I guess.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's very like grounded in reality, and they didn't let anybody say anything that would invite too much unraveling, questioning. Do you know what I mean? Like the improv can't be so crazy that someone's like, "Stop, let's unpack that."
Yeah.
It's
Right.
it's just got to be like funny enough to register, but not too crazy to derail the scene. And they all sort of nail that tone.
Yeah.
I think a key moment is in the slap at the bass scene, the very end of that, when he goes back into it for a second, and Rashida Jones just like has, you can tell, a genuine laugh. That buys so much like goodwill for their relationship, because watching it now, there's a lot of times where like she should have like pumped the brakes or put the kibosh on this relationship, and you start to kind of think like, why is she not saying anything? Like she's not, or is she like just this vapid character? But then you see that she and Paul Rudd have legitimate chemistry, and you're like, okay, they just love each other.
Yeah. I even believe it in the first scene where he goes to show her the lot where he wants to build his like apartment / creative / retail complex. And he's so excited, and she's sort of charmed by how excited he is about the idea of this project. And then he goes out of his way to be like, and you could expand your business here. And she's like moved by the fact that he thought of her and her own success in tandem with his. It's a good movie. They do a good job. It gets really stupid at points, and it gets really in the way that any sitcom-y movie will. There are things that happen that are not completely treated with reality, because if they were, the movie would be derailed. But it's just treated with reality enough and just silly enough that I like it. I think it hits. The mark
like
100%.
the idea that somebody would see a billboard of a nearly nude man in a Speedo and be like, I want that guy to be my real estate agent, is a little interesting.
Yeah.
For example. That's like, I do like the idea of a screenwriter sitting down and being like, all right, what's a big thing that he could do to help his business? Nearly nude billboards. Perfect. People love that.
I think
that everybody in town seems to love it. It's like, that can't be true, but also it's
funny.
Like said this before, and I'll say it again. It's Paul Rudd, and you can believe almost anything that would happen to him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's almost engineered in that way to balance the like believable buddy stuff with the outrageous situation, because in a perfect movie, which maybe this was, people leave the theater being like, wow, that's totally me and my friend. That's the stuff we would say and do. And this movie did such a good job of like literally giving everybody inside jokes. Everybody's walking out of the theater saying slap at the bass, so that they're not thinking about how insane it is that like Lou Ferrigno choked a guy out and like didn't get arrested, showed up to Paul Rudd's wedding party after that.
Oh,
I also like that she comments on how high up he plays the bass.
I mean,
I was like, that was, I don't know, what a funny little. I think that was a moment of improv, and it was so believable and funny
Yep.
that I was like, yeah, 100%. Great feedback.
that brings me to this, Allie. You're getting married, right?
I am.
How are you picking?
Mazel tov.
How are you? What is the logic behind picking the wedding party for you? I'm just curious.
Your dear friends, the people you like, feel like will be a measure of support for you.
Okay.
I think because like my wedding party is very small. It's 4 friends and my brother is gonna be part of my wedding
Sure.
party. So like I
That's like
wasn't
90% of your friend group anyway.
yeah, it's brother counts for more, and then everybody else is just like acquaintances. No, because like you obviously want to have some fun. So you want them to be people who will be relatively on the same page as you about like being there for you on the day and or before. But like more than anything, I feel like this is everybody's perspective, so I'm not saying something new, but like don't you want to be able to look at the pictures and be like, I'm so happy those people were there with me on that day, and not like, oh, I was really trying to mend a relationship here, I should have never tried to force it by putting them in the wedding party.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
That's why like also like I wasn't like, oh no, my wedding party has to only be my female friends, because that's like would be silly, because like some of my really dear important people in my life are not, or are like non-binary or whatever.
Sure. Well, I think the only reason I bring that up is because I think, my wife and I, when we got married almost 8 years ago, so basically when this movie came out, practically. Just kidding. We kind of worked through that. It's like trying to think through, like you're trying to, is prognosticate the word that works here? Who?
I think you're thinking of masturbate.
Oh yeah, we were trying to, but wedding planning was just like at the forefront of our mind, so it was just difficult to get into it. That idea of trying to. One of the problems of getting married right out of college is you hope that these people are your friends forever, but it's a little tough to know because everybody hasn't actually like moved yet, and so she leaned heavily on family stuff because she thought hopefully they would be around and stuff, and I tried to pick some friends, and I think it worked out pretty well, but I just thought it was interesting to think through that process where it's like, well, I just get my 5 best buds, and I was like, well, but are they the best buds forever?
Are you your best buds?
Yeah,
I guess it's stressful.
I don't know if it's stressful, but I think it's obviously different. I think the measure of, do I want to look back at this picture in 15 years? Because I think my wife did sort of that a little bit, like offer not an olive branch, but kind of like a, hey, we haven't been connecting as much, maybe this will help kind of thing, which I don't think is...
Yeah, it's like when the marriage is falling apart, you have a kid. Why not?
And that's why we got married.
Too.
Yeah. We're like, it's not really clicking. Maybe if we were married. But yeah, anyway. And so I think about that a lot, which is, trying to do your best to not only pick a person that you want to live with and be with forever, but also hopefully like 4 or 5-ish friends or more if you're really popular and cool. Or you just put your whole band up there like I did, and now look where that got me.
That's cute. I actually think that's really cute.
Except Jeremy, sorry, Jeremy, and Caleb, now that I think about it. But I was...
Oh my God, Jeremy and Caleb. Jeremy, Caleb, you can come to my wedding.
I was in everybody else in the band's wedding, but not necessarily all of them were in mine. But I went first. I had to make the hard decisions.
Yeah.
And I have more brothers-in-law, so what are you gonna do?
Do you both feel like this movie is... I do think it's extremely well written. So that does have something going for it. However, don't you think it does not work, could not work, magically does work because they somehow found the 2 most likable men in the world? Do you know what I mean?
I think, yes, although I do think some of it just comes down to, yes, that they're affable, but I do think because they're so funny, I do think they could have... Like, you could have seen Aziz being one of them, because Aziz is like a very... Nick Kroll would have been weird.
But that's because Nick Kroll, and I say this with love, has a sinister quality about him.
Exactly.
Like that's part of his
Yeah.
humor. Like his characters that he creates are all like slightly sinister. And like they found these two actors who are funny, affable, likable, safe. I don't know how else to say
Sure.
that. That doesn't sound offensive, but like they you really do believe they are just kind of good guys. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sort of magic. It's like magic. It's like that magic Hollywood casting of just like, yep, you nailed it. You got the right ones.
Yeah, I totally agree. And they even said that, or Rashida Jones said that she signed on. She was sort of skeptical of the idea of the story, but she signed on because Jason Segel and Paul Rudd were on. And I think the way she put it was like, I knew right then it was going to be better than it had any right to be.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also the third time in a couple of years that the two of them had been in a movie together. And so it was clear that they had, not only were they in a vacuum, incredibly just like cool people, could play cool characters, but together had some chemistry themselves. And so I think you're right. I think this could have easily never happened or been a disaster if they didn't have the two most charming people in Hollywood.
Or just been not as good. Like I think, like I even think of I don't remember what the hell his name is, but Ted Mosby, just thinking of Jason Segel's other work. I don't believe their friendship as much as I believe Jason Segel and Paul Rudd, because Paul Rudd is so affable and such a good foil to Jason Segel's kind of like coolness, effortless.
Completely.
But like the schlubby kind, I think that's the other thing that is important about it. They didn't get, like, it easily could have become Crazy Stupid Love or whatever, where like Ryan Gosling is the other one. And he's like, he's so freaking cool and he drives a sports car and he's awesome. And he's like, I'm going to teach you how to be a man, Steve Carell.
Yeah.
But this is a lot more of like, I think Paul Rudd's character seems to pair with him because like they're kind of on the same level in a lot of ways. Like I think a lot of those qualities get mixed together. Like again, you know, Jason Segel is doing fine, but it seems like Paul Rudd has the better job. And to your point about like the superego and the id, like there's not that much of a power imbalance in a way that there could have been if Jason Segel was, you know, the raddest. The main thing that he has over Paul Rudd is that he just seems like chill, I guess. But also Paul Rudd doesn't really need anything from him either. You know, like he wants a best friend for this wedding,
he
but
he just needs companionship. Yeah. Well, I think he also needed somebody to like affirm the goofier parts of himself that he probably put away because he was like, I'm an adult. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I do think
he didn't even know Rush was playing. Like, and it's like maybe at one point in his life he had those, you know, he was like, I see every Rush concert. I have to, you know what I mean? Like, he's like, I don't do that anymore. And so he needed a friend to be the kind of one who was like a little bit of the devil on the shoulder, just being like, come on, I don't care. It's Tuesday night. We gotta go see Rush. Whatever.
And I think,
yeah, I definitely agree that Peter did need Sydney. Like if the very basic distillation is like Peter was very uptight and he needed somebody to teach him how to kick back a little bit.
And I think that is, again, what makes it so fun is having the stakes so low and having them be relatively, like, not caricature. Like, neither of them have it or whatever. I don't know why I just keep coming back to this, but thinking about Crazy Stupid Love, I just think that like, alpha male dude teaching somebody how to be better with women. That's the other thing is he's, like, not trying to get him. He's already secure in his relationship, which is where I think a lot of these movies will tend to go. Which is,
completely.
We have different thoughts on like dating and women, and they do a little bit, but not to the extent that he's like, I need you as a friend because I need ultimately to get a woman. If any, I mean, he helps their relationship, but from a place of security. Like they're not really, I don't know. He's not like trying to get some unattainable woman or whatever.
Completely.
I don't know.
And I like that the movie like goes out of their way to that, like when he makes that speech, it is embarrassing. And I think as audience members, you're sort of like, that's a little gross. Like, is he really that kind of person? But they really go out of their way in the rest of the movie for him to like apologize multiple times and be like, I don't know why I did that. I was kind of trying to be funny. I don't really know. Like, it was stupid. And she's like, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. And like, I like that they
that
do
was important.
Well,
sort of.
and they immediately establish that she talks to her friends about everything. So, I think it's already built in to, you can see where that's going a little bit of like, okay. I mean, and they build this up too, which is like, he's actually telling Jason Segel things and he feels weird about it, but and so does Rashida Jones, but both of them are realizing, oh, right, this is what I do all the time with a higher number of people ultimately. And it's fine because transparency is probably a good thing 90% of the time.
Yeah.
Um,
I would never call the Rashida Jones character a bastion of excellent writing or anything like that. Like, you're not going to study her in a film class. However, there's nothing wrong with the way that she is written or performed, which I think for a movie like this is actually a compliment. Because usually the female character is like just the most insane portrayal of a woman you've ever seen on screen. And she is like deeply normal. I think the things that she gets mad about are extremely justified. And I also think the reasons why she chooses to forgive when she chooses to forgive are also very believable. Yeah. It's not one of those things where she's like, I just can't stay mad at you. Like,
well, I think
he has logic. She sees the logic and goes, well, okay, yeah, that does make sense. I don't love it, but it makes sense to me. So thank you for explaining it to me in that way, which feels like a real, actual relationship discussion.
I think they also do a good job of being like, well, she's not really a part of the movie, but not because she's not a fully fleshed character, but because she already has this element kind of figured out. Like, she already has her own friends and her own business, and she's kind of doesn't need Paul Rudd, really. And I think that's sort of where they're trying to get to, which is strong romantic relationships also need to have underlying strong separate friend relationships, because that's the whole thing that they postulate early on, which is he's going to be weird if he doesn't have friends. And even the Jamie Presley and Jon Favreau, they yell all the time, but he's pretty much like, it's men's night, it's poker night, and you need to get the hell out of the house. And she's like, I get it, and that's fine, and that's something that I respect to some degree. And I think they do a good job of saying, we're not talking about her, not because we don't think women matter or we just like didn't think of how to write this character. She's totally actually somewhere else hanging out with her own friends. And that's just not what the movie's about. If this was a sitcom, then sure, we would have an A and a B story and she would be learning something on the side. But I don't know. I just think it's a delightful film. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, me too. I had a great time, and then when I realized it was almost over, I was like, oh, it's almost over, which is like, when you suddenly have that thought that the movie you're liking is going to be over soon, like, I feel like that's a special thing.
Especially on this freaking podcast.
I feel like
holy crap.
Exactly.
I feel like if you want more of this movie, you should go watch, what's the one where Paul Rudd and Stifler are really into Kiss?
Oh,
Role Models. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like we just talked about that. But
Rush is a more fun band for them to be into. Rush was the perfect choice. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's such an old people band. That's what's kind of weird about it. Is it's not like a.
I was surprised. Well, this script had existed. It was bought 11 years before they actually started making it. So that kind of makes sense.
Rush
Maybe they had
11 years prior to that. I don't know.
Yeah, like the late 90s.
Yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm. Bands like that are cool to whoever likes them at whatever juncture. It doesn't matter the time, because like Rush is a very specific subset of person who's interested in that kind of music. Right. And I am a really big fan of the band Fish, and I like go see them a lot. And so like I understand that it doesn't matter if they've played a concert recently or hasn't been years, or if they are old now. It like just doesn't matter. People who like the band Fish will like the band Fish forever. End of story.
Right.
True.
Yeah, yes, that definitely makes sense. It's more it depends on like when they're supposed to have grown up. I feel like Rush is. I can't get into Rush, and I like a lot of similar-ish music. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
I was into Rush until I saw that the lead singer wasn't a chick, and then I was like,
Jesse's a feminist in that way.
Yeah. I'm boycotting until they get one. Yeah. What was I going to say on that, though? Oh, I think Forgetting Sarah Marshall is the better extension of this movie, because that is also a delightful movie, in my opinion. Jason Segel stabbing a pig and crying. It's the best.
Oh, yeah.
I love that movie.
I bet Forgetting Sarah Marshall is.
Were you going to say Save It Private Ryan?
I love that movie. When Vin Diesel bleeds out the street.
Oh my God. Say your point. I'm sorry to have absolutely just jumped on you.
Say your dumb little thing. Well, no, I think this movie held up surprisingly well, because again, if you think about the gender swapped version of this,
as
it's
we
not
do.
as problematic as a lot of other movies, because this was sort of the thesis all along, is that let's think about it, like male friends versus female friends, what's appropriate to share, what's not appropriate. Like it had all that stuff in mind. But Forgetting Sarah Marshall, I'm not sure if it did. I haven't watched it in a while, but I feel like a lot of the comedy from there was like borderline misogynistic,
I
you
don't want to
know?
hear it.
I don't know. That movie just in my brain is a little bit more bro-y than this movie.
In some ways, I do think they sort of.
I think that it's because it's like about earning female love, which like always will sort of border on like, is this going to get dicey? Do you know what I mean? But like,
Yeah.
I still think the movie overall is so fucking funny and great.
I do agree.
But this movie is like lovely in a lovely and refreshing way, so free of that, like you were saying, with as being the difference between like something like this and Crazy Stupid Love, and that like he's got the relationship settled. He doesn't have to prove anything.
Yeah.
There's never going to be a moment where they argue about liking the same girl or feeling like they are entitled to her affection. He's got that locked down. Now it's like this other part of his personal life, and so like this movie, I think, will sort of continue to age well in that regard.
Yeah. And to that point, Rush is as relevant in 2009 as it'll be in 2020 as it probably was in 1990. Like they've never
That's what I'm
been a
saying.
cool. I mean, they've never been. It's not like if they were like, oh, we just love Billie Eilish, and they're like, oh yeah, you love Billie Eilish too. That's so cool. I don't think that will register in the same way in 30 years.
Yeah, if they loved like AWOL Nation or something, or like Imagine Dragons.
Bands like this will just like. The fans will act like it is a unspecified year at any time. Right. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like when you hey, honestly, Jordan, maybe you should come to New York in April because Phish is playing Madison Square Garden. We can get pizza. We can go see Phish's Madison Square Garden. But you'll see the people who come to see it aren't like, it's the year 2020. Okay. Phish hasn't put out an album in a while, but I'm okay with whatever. It's like they don't care about albums. They're just there. They're there for the band.
Okay, but I'm from Charlottesville, which is Dave Matthews Central. I'm very aware of your jam band.
I hate Dave Matthews Band. Don't even come into my house with that.
Oh my God, Phish is a freaking jam.
Don't even come into my house with that.
I'm not. I'm in Charlottesville. I'm always in Charlottesville.
We need to cut to a technical difficulty slide. We can't let people see us argue over jam bands.
Over jam bands.
My favorite jam band? Oh, Hootie, baby. I'm just kidding. I don't care about Hootie either. Yeah, I'm sure Phish is cool. I'll come unless I'm busy. April. Yeah, we'll get whatever crap pizza you guys have and go listen to Phish.
Yeah, I was gonna say I will say this: if you try and share your culture with Jordan, he's just gonna talk shit about it for the next 2 to 3 fiscal quarters. So
yeah, I'm hoping for a new Jordan in Q4.
I'm I'm an elitist. Thomas Jefferson's from here. He had no problems, and I
he had no problems.
I aspire to be like Tom.
He had no problems. He had no problems with his personal life. He just glided through.
Mm-hmm.
I love a guy whose favorite pizza is from North Carolina or whatever, or Virginia, I guess.
Charlottesville, baby. Dr. Ho's Humble Pie. Look it up. Come down here and eat it.
Love a guy like that saying that he's a cultural elitist.
My strong cultural opinions are the best pizza is Dr. Ho's Humble Pie, and that I don't like Blank Man very much. Those are my two. Those are the
that's
two. That's what I sort of build my cultural identity around.
Yeah,
I still want to hang out with you despite those opinions.
Anywhere, but it's like my fiance's family is from Chicago, so the first time I tried deep dish, everyone was like, and I was like, I mean, it wasn't pizza. It was good.
Allie panics and starts singing "Say a Little Prayer."
Yeah, exactly. But I was born in Manhattan. I'm a little subway rat. I crawled out of the grave, and that is where I will die. and the pizza that I grab in my little teeth and drag onto the subway tracks will always be the best pizza. End of story.
Chicago pizza, not very draggable.
No, it's messy, and the cheese is on the inside.
Squishy.
I'm not gonna do that.
In my experience, it's just Sbarro's, but a little bit.
Dr. Hose puts the cheese on the bottom.
You have to turn the pizza over. It's crazy. No, it's super good.
Can I say a final thought actually about the movie
bring it back
before we get
since
back
we're
into it?
technically live streaming. and people are
Did
watching this.
did either of you watch the TV show Happy Endings?
No. Sounds
No.
like a
I watched it
massage.
for the first time during the pandemic because I had time to watch it and I really wanted to see what everyone was talking about. It's one of those things that was like a cult classic favorite that got canceled after three seasons, maybe got shifted around in time slots and stuff. The network was clearly trying to kill it. You know what I mean? But it's like a really great cast of people, one of whom is Adam Pally playing a really broy gay guy. And that like the part of the shtick is that he's like an absolute slob who doesn't have his life together and doesn't dress well and doesn't take any care in his like personal grooming or whatever, but like is just subsequently and happenstancely gay. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And the show is good because it's not it's like having fun with like breaking the stereotype, but also they don't ever try to pretend he isn't gay. Like him being gay is an important part of his character too. It's not like every once in a while off screen he says he's interested in a guy, but like he like is actively always pursuing romantic relationships and things like that. And it's weird that it is sort of coinciding with this Adam. Oh
Samberg.
no,
Andy
Andy Samberg. Wow. Ooh. Andy Samberg's character is kind of the same way. He's like a guy wearing like a hoodie and being like, oh, and also just by the way, I happen to be gay. It's weird. They're like similar takes on the character coinciding around ish the same time. Although I guess it isn't if it was written 11 years ago. But in terms of production,
Sure. Yeah.
this
Yeah. Who knows? What?
character
Yeah.
trope has been introduced around the same
And
time.
it's cool that his dad is his best. Well, he's his dad's best friend or whatever. It's a very
Yeah.
and Hank Mardukas.
Yeah, we love Hank Lucas. I'm glad we got to meet him.
Yeah. Cool. Anything else? Okay, people in the comments, you have 30 seconds, but realize that you're getting this behind. So by the time you hear this, the 30 seconds will be up, and you have no time. Any thoughts?
I have.
Thoughts? Okay, go, Jesse. Kill time until people.
I have some trivia to kill some time. All right. So Matt
Ooh.
Walsh.
Oh, and I have tags. Go for it.
Oh, excellent.
Good.
I
Oh yeah.
forgot tags.
So Matt Walsh's character is like canonically a combination of his character from two classic UCB sketches, Ass Pennies and Power Marketing. He's wearing the same thing as. Yeah. So that was right. Okay, love that. Wedding band at the end. A little band named OK Go.
What?
Pretty tight. Didn't
Yeah.
realize that.
Good for them. I'm surprised they
and-
weren't like upside down, going through like a washing machine or whatever. All their
2009, I guess. When did
They were
they start?
trying.
Yeah, they were at the lab. Okay. Anwar Sadat's daughter sued them for saying that he looks like a dog.
Is that true?
Did they win?
I don't think they won. They also she like requested the Egyptian U.S. embassy to officially apologize, and they declined to do so.
Wow, she lost on a lot of fronts. She
Yeah,
was really striking out.
she spent all her capital. Yeah,
It's cool that she
And-
watched it though. Or like
I wonder if
somebody
she-
else watched it and probably told her, but
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
it's
And then
very-
okay, Paul Rudd and Thomas Lennon's Kiss was nominated for Best Kiss at the MTV Movie Awards that year.
It was
And-
tender.
It was.
Smoky.
It
It
was
was tender.
that, and also the kiss that Paul Rudd has with Rashida Jones, like directly after, was the most uncomfortable kiss to watch since what was that Korean film we watched where they had bad sex?
Burning.
Yes,
Yeah, he was
yeah.
all on top of her too. It was a little like, oh, are we going into a moment, leaving the moment? He was very perched.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's my trivia.
It's good trivia.
Good trivia.
Nobody's saying they're all arguing about which pizza's the best, so I think we lost them.
Oh boy. Well, that's
Give us
our
some
fault.
tags, Alex.
All right.
Cornli-
Here's
oh.
some. There were a lot of tags, so I'm only reading you some of my favorites. Of course, we have bromance. We have gay brother.
Right.
Huh.
Important. Reference to the Incredible Hulk. Reference to Neil Peart.
Is that common? How many other movies were
I
under
don't
that?
know.
I feel like that's what we got to look up
it
too.
is- It had to be tagged.
Wow.
Abnormal behavior.
Huh. Disagree.
I know.
Punching Lou
Social
Ferrigno is abnormal.
alienation. Yeah, I was wondering about that. But then also capitalism.
Oh, so I was right.
So talk about Yeah, talk about your symbolism. A reference to Subway, the sandwich shop.
Oh, add this
Scene
podcast
during
to
end
that.
credits. Exactly.
Wait, is there a
Can you
reference to
believe?
Subway the sandwich shop in this?
I don't remember, but it's obviously tagged.
They eat. Oh,
Yeah, I
they
don't
eat
remember.
the
During end credits,
like
that's
10-foot long sub.
Oh yeah, he orders a 6-foot sub all for himself.
Yeah, that's right.
It's called self-care.
Where else were
Was
we?
Jared in jail yet? Probably not.
No, I think we
probably
were in peak
not.
Jared.
Love that guy. Well,
This was tagged with F word, which was for you, Jordan, just to make sure nobody was swearing in your good little boy
you guys
movies.
did a really good job this time. I'm proud of you.
Fuck yeah.
The whole chat.
Then we have a series of tags where I'm wondering if we're getting into like weird fetishes or something. They are as follows: brushing teeth, muscle beach, tickling, flatulence, vomiting on someone, and male slaps a male.
We should have.
So I'll leave that in your hands.
I do think this should be a recurring segment because I think we should be making spin-off videos where we just track down all the male slaps male videos and just see if there's a theme. Like if it's just this one dude named Larry who's been hunting down male slap male videos and tagging them.
That's what I like. I do wonder because like when nobody is looking for this movie for the one tiny moment where Paul Rudd slaps the asshole coworker. Like that's not actually something that somebody is categorizing this movie for, but it is for somebody. And I need to know who that person is and why.
Let's do some investigative journalism. You know how there's like that one guy who's responsible for like 70% of Wikipedia articles? We got to find that guy on IMDb's trivia tags.
Yeah.
We gotta have him make me a page because I feel embarrassed to not have one.
But who is more dedicated to the craft than a person trying to track down every movie where a male slaps a male for their sexual gratification?
That's a man I want to meet. Yeah.
I really mean it. I want to know. I got to know the other movies where it happens. I got to know his favorite instance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would wager it's like so I was reading about Jon Favreau's like just situation right there. So 2009 was the same year that he started directing Iron Man, I believe, and he almost didn't take this movie, but somebody, I think Robert Downey Jr. convinced him to do this movie because in his words, it's like the old kung fu movies where they say to stay humble by carrying water, you know? So maybe this is also Jon Favreau staying humble by updating IMDb tags just to really immerse himself in the industry that he wanted to excel in.
You're right. He's so not busy at all. He's just like, he's got nothing on his plate.
Yeah. Maybe his next live action remake will be some anime of hot boys slapping hot boys that he will make look hyper realistic just for himself.
I mean, like, would I not at least tune in to see what it was?
If it's on Disney Plus, it's like I'm already paying for it, so like
I'm not above it. I gotta know.
By me, I mean my parents for my daughter. Cool. So, any other thoughts before we go into titles?
I didn't do titles again.
Allie is.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I gotta get fired. Can somebody just fire me?
Yeah. We'll do it after this, though.
I have been trying.
So here's what I got. I don't know if they're great. Corn Lips wants more Cannonball in his life. We're thinking about it. We're debating shifting more to anime. I don't know. We're working on it. We're working on Cannonball.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say we're debating firing Jesse.
Well,
huh?
Yeah, but that's a separate.
I mean, we were.
Doesn't mean Cannonball can't keep going.
I think it's good to have these thoughts and express them out loud. See where they land.
Oh, it's Manu John pops up on every video asking for more Roger. I'm sorry. We'll bring him back soon.
Bring back Rajay.
Rajay.
It makes it sound like you know where he is and you've like locked him away and you could just bring him in at any time.
He is in Buffalo.
Like, fine, I'll go get him.
All right. Titles. Let's live in that time. Because I like. He's like, let's live in that time. The time before I said something stupid. Leftover Kukuru, only because I didn't know kookaroo was a real thing, and so I looked it up, and
What is kookaroo?
it is a defunct now fast food chain, chicken,
Oh,
and this is an older movie, so it's like kookaroo. It's old, it's defunct, but we still love it if we knew what it was. I had the taste of betrayal, just because I like that. Slippery shrimp and a lot of quiche.
Yeah.
A lot of quiche. I think that's another one that was more or less coined here is calling cash quiche. Not that he came up with it, but this certainly mainstreamed it.
Yes. What do you got, Jesse?
So, okay, I got I know my farts. Hello.
That was the weirdest thing. Like, it didn't really, to me, it didn't make any sense, even with his character. I think it's one of the weirdest parts of the whole movie is him just saying like, "Hello." He just showed how
that's
cool
one of
he
those
was and how he like knew everything.
That's one of those. Yeah, that's one of the lines that I still quote with one of my best friends is "Hello." The old little flourish. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Two more I've got. And Hank Mardukas.
Ah.
And finally, Latris on the Benjay.
Yeah, I had that written down, but I couldn't think of how to spell it. I'm not really sure how to SEO that.
Are you kidding me that you don't have Peter and Sydney's Infinite Playlist?
I think
Oh, that's funny. I think at this point, you two have pitched more of those than I have, which was my plan all along.
But this was actually a movie about two people bonding over their love of music.
Oh, you're
Like,
right.
this was the time.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, Infinite Rush.
Oh, okay,
playlist.
how about Friendship at the Disco?
Okay, I like it.
Friendship at the Rush Show?
Oh, it's good.
I
Yeah.
actually like that. Let's use that one. All right, everybody. Again, you got 30 seconds to come up with your own title, which nobody is doing, so it's fine.
Kuna Vlog says, "What's kookaroo?" Which I don't think they meant it this way, but fine title.
What's kookaroo?
Oh my
Yeah.
word, hello.
Kookaroo is
I
not
also
a movie.
like,
Kookaroo is a restaurant. You guys are getting off track. Give me a title.
It could be, the title is I Love You Man, but in parentheses it says, said like a leprechaun.
Say it like that.
I love you, man.
Oh, I love
Like
you,
that.
man. You're one of my favorite men. That I love.
I
That I love.
So that you know when you say the title, it must be said in that accent. That was a favorite running joke of mine.
Mhm.
Is that they were just like, every single person would be like, "Why are you saying it like that? You're saying it like you're like a little leprechaun or something."
Yeah.
Oh, I love you, man.
I wonder how much of his like misspeaking was rift or
It had to be. I bet they just like discovered it while they were filming. Would be my guess, unless they wrote Paul Rudd does Jamaican Irish accent here, which would be pretty awesome.
well, sure, but
Yeah.
also I mean you could imagine it comes up in like midriff, and then they're like, "Hey, do that one. Say Latris on the Menjay again."
Yeah.
And he says that 10 times. I don't know how these things work.
I don't either, and nobody gave us any titles, so
No, we have one.
Cook the
We have
Cuckoo.
one.
Cook.
Making Friends as an Adult.
Oh, is that a title?
Oh,
I
that's
just
good.
thought you
I
were just
assume that-
pointing. You're just like, hey, just want you guys to know that's difficult. Okay.
That guy
I-
you know. Nice. Good work.
I have a title.
And if it wasn't a title, I'm
I
sorry.
Love You, Man?
Apologize for jumping.
Why I never watched I Love You, Man? Bad
Why didn't you watch
Bad
it?
Bromance.
Well, now you have to. Bad Romance is fun.
Oh, that's really good.
Fresh Boy JB.
Shit, that's great.
That's actually
Fresh boy.
That's how I referred to myself in high school. Every time I'd walk in a room, it's what up? It's your boy. It's
Hey,
Fresh
it's
Boy
me,
JB.
Fresh Boy JB.
Speak.
Hey, I noticed
Oh.
none of you have been calling me Fresh Boy JD, but I'd like you to.
One of my favorite and one of my few happy memories from playing with random people on Xbox Live is we were playing Rainbow Six Siege with some 16-year-old, and he was hiding in a closet, and he shot somebody, and he yells, a pro of nothing, "It's your boy, Closet Monster!" And
I like that.
man, it was great. I thought it was so funny, and he was so happy that two 30-year-olds, my friend and I, were laughing at him, that he tried for the rest of the session to make us laugh again, to no avail.
I know.
It was just
But you have to give it to them. You know what I mean? Like, it's a formative age. He probably was 14.
yeah. Well, I just want you to know.
You never made anybody laugh before.
Closet Monster, you're still my boy.
Yeah, Closet Monster, we still believe in you. You should go into a career in comedy. It's easy and fun, and there's no setbacks.
Yep.
Yeah, do you want to chase the attention of 30-year-olds for the rest of your life?
Exactly.
Come on in.
Get into
Do
comedy.
you want your boss to yell at you because you're
I
not
feel
cool
like-
with the 16-year-olds? Because that happens to me a lot. Like, I'm trying.
Yeah. The nicknames that you like make up for yourself when you have to like input a nickname, like when you're bowling, that is like the nickname that will stay with you for the rest of your life. Do you know what I mean? Like that is where the formative ones are made.
The one that stuck with me the longest was Decap because I did I tell you this? Because I was so bad at football, like I ripped off a guy's helmet instead of tackling him.
Jesus.
And then in the cross,
Oh my God,
like,
rage issues.
not that long. Well, it's just because he was slippery and I wasn't tackling him right. And then later, I ran into a guy who was much taller than me, and his helmet popped off because the top of my head just hit it right. And so,
Dude, you're trying to decapitate people, you little
you're
freak.
leading with your helmet. That is patently illegal.
This is real Lou Ferrigno of you,
well,
dude.
whatever. I only played football for 1 year. And then the coach said, please stop decapitating my players, which helped me understand my standing as not a player, not one of his players. I was on the scout team. And
You're a fucking mole.
yeah, and then in class the next day, like in health class, which is the only time I had a class with another football player, they're like, oh, it's decap, like decapitator. And then people just
I like
called
it.
me that.
It's good,
and
yeah.
That's my Xbox gamer tag, but good luck on the rest of it. It's decap.
And you'll never know the rest.
69.
Yeah, 42069.
Gotta imagine.
Yeah, 69, 420, and then the word fuck just for good measure.
No.
Jesse, any lingering nicknames?
What, for that of myself or for you guys? Because I have secret names I call you guys in my head.
Yeah, mommy and daddy, I assume.
Right. Speaking of,
Yeah.
where's my children
No, I
call
don't
me
think I've-
Papa? Disappointed
Yeah.
in them.
I don't think I've ever really had a nickname. Maybe I haven't. I can't remember off.
Oh, that made me sad. We got to give Jesse a nickname. Okay, let's do that as an auction bid. If somebody can pay the most amount of money to give you a nickname that will stick, we will always call you that.
Decap.
I did make. I am responsible for making a nickname, a purposely terrible nickname, stick with somebody for their whole life. Early in college, my buddy Dave, called somebody Wiener Toots, and I did that thing where you echo it more loudly, and then I kept calling him that for the rest of the day, and that he's still known as Wiener Toots, and his roommate from that year is known as Butt Poops.
Wow.
And that's for life.
Yeah, it's
I
for
just
life.
watched Jackass Forever per Jesse's constant suggestion that we watch it. And one of the new guys is named Poopies. And so I feel like you probably know him based on what it sounds like. All
Yeah,
your
Yeah,
friends
are you familiar with Poopies?
I'm friends with
There you go.
Poopies. I don't know if it's the same.
I didn't see Jackass Forever, but I finally saw Licorice Pizza.
Oh.
It took me a long time. I got a private screening at the new Alamo Draft House in Fine Eye.
Alamo.
Oh,
That's
wow.
where I saw Jackass Forever. It was very classy.
It was truly it was me and my friend Nick, and we were the only people there. And the person who welcomed us went, "Welcome to your private screening of Licorice Pizza."
Wow.
It was very fun.
That's exciting.
I know.
Did you have any nicknames, Allie?
I made this joke earlier, but it is true. My nickname is Rat Boy. Like
Oh.
when I am logging into like a Quiplash game or anything, like I'm always Rat Boy. I have a necklace that says Rat Boy. Rat Boy.
Oh, well.
It truly checks
probably
out
just
to me,
move
but
on
in
from that. I'm just kidding.
No, it makes it the
It makes sense. I'm a boy who's a
I could
rat.
I mean, Allie as
Jordan,
an
you are
actress-
correct.
Yeah, as an actor, Allie is a whiz at playing lil scamps, like little dudes.
Little scamps.
Yeah, and
yeah,
then
little weird little dudes.
mhm,
And
and little scrappy little
came-
rat things.
it came out of an improv practice, unfortunately,
Oh.
where we were pretending to be, I don't remember what it was,
Rat.
but we were trying to give everybody nicknames really quickly. And so Rat Boy was the thing that came out. And I was like, I identify with that so deeply, I will never not say it again.
That's
The other one that I like that is less fun, but it has stuck with me for a while, is that once I was getting dinner with, I keep talking about improv, I'm so sorry. I was getting dinner with my team before a show, and I was not hungry, but I got a Coke float. And so when I was talking to the like very old Greek older waiter, I was like, hey, do you have, this is gonna sound crazy. Do you have like Coca-Cola floats? And he was like the soda and you put an ice cream on top. And I was like, yeah, like, is that a thing you do? And he was like, of course. So I was like, great. And then when he brought everybody's stuff to the table, he'd be like, cheeseburger, da da da, and he would like name all the things. But instead of saying like, and a Coke float, he looked at me dead in the eyes and went, great girl. And he put the thing down in front of me. So great girl stuck for a while too.
Great girl, rat boy.
That's nice.
Great girl and rat boy is the infinite playlist.
Yeah. And their infinite playlist.
Great. Well, I think we ended probably 15 minutes ago, but we should probably officially end it.
Yeah.
We're going to go ahead and say that we do have this in audio version if you care, but starting March 21st, we're going to live stream every Monday at the same time because that's what streamers do according to the internet. And again, we're trying to be cool for 16-year-olds.
To 16-year-olds.
Yeah, girls specifically, who love talking about freaking
romances.
I Love You Man from 2009. But yeah, so we're going to do that. So I don't know, get your towels ready. It's about to go down.
Get your towels ready?
For what?
For what?
That's from the I'm on a Boat, Lonely Island song. It's just, It's not specific to this. It's just a thing that he says with the right energy. That's all I wanted. I don't know. Listen to the song. It's a great song.
Well, I'm just glad it wasn't sexual. I guess it was.
No, it's not. It's about being wet because you're on a boat.
God, it wasn't sexual.
God, you guys don't understand.
Okay.
So we're gonna go. Jesse, where can we find you?
All right, you can find me on Cracked YouTube channel. Look up some more Cannonball, since that seems to be far and away the most popular.
Yeah, nobody's asked for
series
any other people or any other personalities on here.
Mm-hmm. It's a stretch to call me a personality, but.
Did you say where we can find you? That's literally, you just want Cannonball? Great.
Yeah, Cannonball. Go
Jesse.
check it out.
I mean, Allie.
Check it out. Check me out on Cannonball on YouTube.
I had. Your name sounds similar to me. I actually can't tell the
Crazy.
difference between the two of you. You look very similar to me.
Confused. That's true.
White
I get confused for Jesse a lot. You can find me on Twitter at Miss Alice Nutting, MSALICENUTTING. That's where you can find me.
Amen. And you can find me at _J_breeding on the Twitters. And I don't do anything else. I downloaded the Facebook app because I have to post reels now. So if you're on Facebook, watch our reels because we're going to get a bonus. And then after March 18th, you don't have to worry about it. And then also, we're going live, as I said. Subscribe to us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And remember that we also exist as a newsletter, which is going to change and get cooler. So go to crack.com/movie club and sign up. And otherwise, that's it.
We also exist.
See you when we stream again.
As a group chat, you guys should join our group chat.
We do have a secret Discord. Somebody asked. You guys aren't even in my secret
What?
Discord. I'm experimenting with it.
How do I do that?
I'll send you the link. There's like 3 people from college in there because I don't know how to use it yet, and I'm scared to make it public.
Oh, I don't know how to use it either, but we can learn together.
If you find our secret Discord, you can join it. I don't care. All right, that's it. Bye.
Bye.
Adios.
I'm gonna
Goodbye.
play the intro again.